The Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority is saddled with the strategic mission of enhancing lives through effective regulation of the industry. This is driven with the vision of being a world-class regulator, promoting economic and social development through sustainable energy.
The Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, is expected to guarantee amongst its many mandates domestic energy security through the availability of gas and petroleum products, investment growth in the midstream and downstream sector, environmental sustainability in the development of Nigerian hydrocarbon resources, and overall economic development driven by gas. One of the biggest difficulties of the coming decades will be meeting the world's energy demand responsibly. The global energy sector is undergoing a significant shift. An increasing worldwide population and economic growth, particularly in developing nations like Nigeria, are driving customer demand for safe and inexpensive energy. The establishment of the NMDPRA is beneficial at this crucial time when the world is focused on reducing global warming. Nigeria is committed to contributing to this reduction of carbon emission as seen in various actions, such as the Energy Transition Plan, which was unveiled at the COP26 in Glasgow, the recently passed Climate Change Act, the Nigerian Deep Decarbonization Project, and Economic Trees Planting Campaign to fight desertification, to mention just a few.
Today, we are gathered here to discuss a very important topic that concerns gas as a fuel of choice for sustainable energy and alternative for white products heavily utilized in the domestic sector. For more than 2 decades, diesel and petrol has been the major driver of transportation and captive power generation. This increased the daily diesel consumption by more than 100% from 6 million liters in 2012. The deregulation of diesel in 2009 has also witnessed percentage increase in the price of the product as more than 90% of the product is imported, which has impacted on forex, cost of transportation and inflation. This increase in consumption has also resulted in environmental pollution given the nature of the fuel.
Today, the authority is engaging directly with the heaviest users of diesel: schools, factories, estates, and hotels as well. Many of these heavy users of AGO are operating without licenses, never minding the fact that they are handling petroleum products in quite very high volumes. And so the objectives we've set for ourselves today is, one, to advise strongly against operating outside the regulatory oversight, because only within the regulatory space is technical and operational safety guaranteed. Secondly, we would like to create the awareness that gas in the long run represents a cleaner and cheaper form of cheaper fuel for utilization by every heavy user of AGO. And so with this, we encourage and welcome everyone to please bring themselves within the regulatory space.
Most of the end users' installations with capacity above the regulatory limit of 500 liters are without the appropriate permits and license issued by the authority. This has resulted to an increase in the fire and safety incidents recorded within the last decade. Hence, it is in this light that the stakeholders' engagement is anchored to bring all such illegal facilities into the regulatory space, thereby ensuring standards and safer facilities and operations. From the year 2020, after the declaration of the Year of Gas and subsequently the Decade of Gas in 2021, the AGO annual national consumption dropped significantly by 27% from 15 million liters in 2020 to 11 million liters in 2022 at annual reduction rate of 15%. This is highly attributed to the increase in the conversion from diesel to gas after the declaration of the Year of Gas. Due to the concerted team effort efforts of the authority and the various FGN programs. In 2020 and 2021, respectively, the Nigerian government rolled out the initiatives aimed at the promotion and expansion of the gas sector in Nigeria. All the initiatives seek to stimulate stakeholders' awareness towards the deepening of gas consumption, infrastructural development, safety and acceptability and penetration in Nigeria. Both LPG, LNG, and CNG production, consumption, infrastructural spread, and acceptability have significantly improved with each passing year and with a projection to meeting various targets and performance of the decade of gas.
To actualize the dream of the transforming Nigeria with its massive gas resources requires the collaboration of government with the necessary stakeholders. It is my privilege and honor to now launch the Decade of Gas Agenda and to declare this summit open. I wish you fruitful deliberations. Thank you, and God bless us all.
As we all know, the use of petrol and diesel has been the primary source of energy for transportation and industry for many years. However, we also know that the burning of fossil fuels has negative effects on the environment. Furthermore, in the Nigerian context and with the imminent removal of PMS subsidy, there is a need to educate key stakeholders in all the relevant energy-intensive industries who require fuels for various uses such as power and heat generation and domestic use. Fortunately, there is a solution that can help us address these challenges: natural gas and its products. Natural gas and products are clean burning fuel that emits significantly fewer greenhouse gases than white product fuels, and it's also abundant, relatively affordable, and readily available. By transitioning to natural gas, we can significantly reduce our carbon footprint, reduce operating costs, preserve the life expectancy of our generators and machines. With focus on 4 thematic areas of availability, accessibility, affordability, and acceptability, the transition will require significant investment in infrastructure and technology. However, the benefits far outweigh the costs. Nigeria's proven gas reserve stands at about 208.62 TCF and would significantly supply gas for more than 90 years at a daily average production of 5.134 BCF, of which 93.9% and 6.09 flared. LPG national consumption has grown impressively by more than 600% within the last decade in Nigeria, but still ranks as one of the lowest in Africa at a per capita consumption of less than 8 kg. This gap in demand suggests huge opportunities for more growth and development within the domestic sector. Out of the 1,602,971 MT of LPG produced in 2022, 48% was exported as propane, a significant alternative to diesel for industrial power generation, currently being used for propane to telecom industry. The last 3 years have witnessed remarkable growth in domestic consumption of LNG by 39% from 133,806.44 MT in 2021 to 185,863.1 MT in 2022. Period also led the infrastructural growth of domestic LNG by more than 600%. And driven by Greenville Limited investment with authority regulatory support. The domestic demand and infrastructure growth attracted more interest and opportunity from NLNG, leading the domestic LNG supply products. 4 of the companies with sales and purchase agreements with NLNG have been issued with various levels of permits and approvals to establish the construct LNG depots at Lagos, Rivers, and Edo states. Some of the ongoing projects are expected to be completed by fourth quarter of 2023. Also, there has been significant increase in CNG infrastructure nationwide from 97 facilities in 2017 to 113 in 2022. This is largely driven by the existing ex-Gravos Lagos pipeline system and would further drive infrastructural revolution and penetration in the northern cities at the completion of the ongoing gas pipeline projects such as the Ajaokuta Kano Kaduna and Obiafo Abrikam Oben gas pipeline systems. Also, the newly gazetted gas distribution system regulations would create an enabling environment for more investments in gas pipelines and CNG infrastructures along the corridors of the networks nationwide. This stakeholder engagement is necessary at a time like this due to the impending removal of fuel subsidy and the significant attendant effects, which includes higher fuel prices, reduced disposable income, higher industry operating costs, and increased demand for alternative energy sources. By promoting gas utilization, the government can offset the impact of subsidy removal on end users, reduce the country's reliance on PMS, AGO, DPK by achieving 60% fuel switching to gas in 10 years, create jobs, meet the Paris Agreement objective of 20% reduction in annual GHG emissions by 2030, and reduction in forex dependency through reduced AGO and gasoline importation fiscal transformation. Hence, the authority is reviewing all its regulations, guidelines, and licensing process in bringing all gas handling facilities into the regulatory space for safe operations, public acceptability, and cost-effective benchmarks and gas pricing within the derogated environment. We all know that Nigeria is richly blessed in natural gas reserves. In addition to this, we shall be concluding by going through the various gas products value chains, starting from the producing and processing facilities such as the Nigeria LNG, which deal in gas processing, and the production of gas products such as propane, butane, and LNG. Many of the gas producing and processing companies are participating in today's engagements. Each of these companies produce gas products such as LNG, LPG, propane, and natural gas.
When oil was discovered in Nigeria in the late 50s, the nation woke up to a huge source of income. Suddenly, the country became a major oil-producing country in Africa, ranking 7th in the world. But this blessing came with a major challenge, as Nigeria also acquired the reputation of being one of the worst gas-flaring nations in the world. The solution was Nigeria LNG Limited, NLNG, currently Nigeria's sole exporter of liquefied natural gas. The project was not only to drastically reduce gas flaring, but also earn valuable foreign exchange revenue for Nigeria and diversify the nation's revenue base. By November 1995, Nigeria LNG's 4 shareholders reached a final investment decision to build a liquefied natural gas plant on Bonny Island, Rivers State. The combined yearly output of the 6 trains currently amounts to 22 million tons of LNG, about 7% of the world's liquefied natural gas supply.
We provide a very profitable outlet to monetize gas. We use that gas to make LNG, we export LNG, and therefore we create a lot of value. And that value accrues to the nation.
If you do every other thing well, if you don't have gas, it doesn't amount to much. And when we go around to meet buyers, they tell us this, that initially when they wanted to contract, people were saying to them, why do you want to contract from Nigeria, that they will never perform? But that today, we've turned out to be one of the most reliable suppliers they have.
Today, Nigeria LNG Limited, through its wholly owned subsidiary Bonny Gas Transport (BGT), owns, manages and operates the largest marine fleet in Nigeria. 23 vessels crisscrossing the globe, safely and reliably delivering LNG to customers in Europe, America, and more recently, Asia. And that is not all. Just recently, Nigeria LNG engaged the services of two of the world's leading technology and manufacturing firms, Hyundai and Samsung, to build 6 new ships at a cost of $1.6 billion for the company.
4 ships were acquired in 1989. The LNG Lagos, the LNG Port Harcourt, the LNG Bonny, and the LNG Finima. And because these ships have actually served this company and they have reached an old age, we needed to retire them. And that eventually led us to a decision with which we now decided to replace those ships with 6 new ones. These new ships will take this company into the next decade, or what I call the next 20 years, in our quest to continue to be at that forefront of efficient delivery of cargo and continue to be the best in the industry as we have been known today.
Part of the Nigerian content strategy in this shipbuilding program includes the training of more than 500 young Nigerian technicians, both in Nigeria and in South Korea, as well as opportunities for several Nigerian companies to export their products for use in the construction of the ships. At the heart of all operations in this organization is a firm commitment to help build a better Nigeria. One shining example of that commitment has been the conscious effort to build indigenous capacity and to transfer technical and operational knowledge to Nigerians. Nigeria LNG currently boasts a fully indigenous senior management team and a workforce that is 98% Nigerian.
Since 1999, when the business took off, when the company took off as an LNG company, we didn't have that experience in our country. So we brought in the right people from all over the world, and they coached our people. They also trained our people on the job.
LNG. Liquefied natural gas is a clean, non-toxic liquid form of natural gas cooled to around -162 degrees Celsius. It takes up only about 1/600th of the volume of natural gas in its gaseous state, making it easier to store and transport. LNG can be used for power generation, industrial processes, transportation, residential and commercial heating. Many industries have recently converted their power and heat source from conventional fuels to LNG, including Nigerian breweries, BUA Cement, Olam Rice, Sincere Industries, Mahmuda Industries, among others. Some of these industries, which are located in the far north, now have more access to gas and power due to the use of LNG. Other mainstream industries are not left out in this migration, as hotels such as Oriental Hotel, which currently powers its entire establishment on LNG. Another example is Tahir Guest House, Kano, which has successfully obtained a site suitability approval and an approval to construct the LNG regasification facility. Another establishment enjoying the benefits of cheaper fuel sources through LNG recirculation is Ogun Guangdong Free Trade Zone, which distributes natural gas through pipeline network to each of the industries within each of the free trade zone.
Greenville Liquefied Natural Gas, LNG Limited, pioneered the production and distribution of liquefied natural gas for domestic use within Nigeria, using an innovative virtual pipeline system for supply of gas to all the 6 geopolitical zones in the country. Greenville LNG is a one-stop solution providing LNG as fuel for industries, transportation, and gas to power, simply enabling access to reliable energy for the future. Greenville has bagged so many firsts. Greenville LNG was the first to market LNG in Nigeria, first to supply gas to northern Nigeria, and first to operate a fleet of over 500 trucks 100% on LNG. About to be the first to introduce CNG stations, converting the vehicular and tricycle fuel to compressed natural gas, CNG. The Greenville's LNG plant in Rumuji was set up with 100% FDI of $500 million and has been providing LNG, a more sustainable and cost-efficient energy solution and perfect substitute to diesel for the industrial and manufacturing sector. liquefied natural gas has many benefits. Reduces cost of production by 35%. Energy density of LNG is 2.4 times greater than CNG and 15% higher than diesel. This makes LNG the most cost-efficient fuel for regions not served or underserved by gas. Reduces greenhouse gas emission and related environmental benefits. Increase in power generation by supplying LNG fuel to power self-generating factories and industries.
CNG. Compressed natural gas is a form of natural gas that is compressed to a pressure of around 200 to 250 bar. It is stored and transported in high-pressure cylinders or tanks and can be used as fuel for various applications. Just like LNG, CNG can be used in the areas of transportation, industrial processes, power generation, residential and commercial heating. Numerous companies process, distribute CNG to industrial end users. Some industries which currently make use of CNG include hotels such as Lagos Continental Hotel, Nigeria Breweries, Nigerian Bottling Company, etc. In the area of transportation and considering the post-subsidy era, CNG can also be utilized as an alternative auto fuel. This is made possible by conversion of the motor engines from liquid fuel engines to gas-powered engines. This auto gas and vehicle conversion technology is readily available.
Nigeria's leading natural gas provider, NIPCO Gas Limited, has been at the forefront in aiding the federal government's vision to harness the nation's gas resources through massive investment in pipelines infrastructure. This is done through construction of stations to enhance access to the environment-friendly fuel across the nation, inaugurating 9 CNG stations and a compression station widely acknowledged as the biggest plant in West Africa. With the recent advocacy of the federal government to reduce burden of petroleum sector, which have since been deregulated, Nigeria's leading natural gas provider NIPCO Gas Limited is promoting the use of natural gas and its distribution as viable alternative to liquid fuels through provision of requisite infrastructures in a safe environment in the overall economic growth of Nigeria. NIPCO has converted a total of 5,600 vehicles in Nigeria to use compressed natural gas as one of the company's efforts at providing access and alternative to motorists to power their automobiles.
One beautiful thing NIPCO has done is to put up a policy that will encourage customers, encourage Nigerians to convert their vehicles. Having the background that the cost of CNG kit is quite high, NIPCO have introduced a special scheme, a very flexible scheme that creates a very flexible payment system in which Nigerians can easily pay a token, get the kit installed, and we gradually recover the cost of conversion from each SCM of gas they purchase. So it makes it so flexible that it is easy.
And the conversion of 5,600 vehicles were done at the company's workshops in Benin, Edo State and Ibafo, Ogun State. Giving credence to the laudable efforts of the company, energy consultant Dr. Mohammed Ibrahim at a recent gathering gave an account on how NIPCO Gas has scores of CNG stations spread across the country with accompanying conversion workshops to fix components into vehicles to enjoy dual fueling using gas and white products interchangeably.
LPG, liquefied petroleum gas, is a flammable hydrocarbon that is a mixture of propane and butane, which are byproducts of crude oil refining and natural gas processing. LPG can be used for power generation in telecommunications, domestic use, residential and commercial heating, transportation and energy storage. Companies such as Biswa Limited and IHS Nigeria Limited engage in the use of LPG for power generation of its telecommunication towers. Establishments such as hospitals, hotels, banks, restaurants, estates may consider the use of LPG for power generation and for domestic use.
We are Alice Carries Gas Limited. an indigenous end-to-end provider of gas products that focus on distribution, storage, and retailing of LPG across Nigeria. As a player in the downstream sector, our business not only involves the selling of LPG, but participating in the gas utilization plan. All 9 of our retail stations, located in 3 states across Nigeria, are driven by propane-rated generators. We not only sell LPG, our operations are powered by LPG.
Techno Oil started more than 25 years ago. These are times when the IOCs majorly were players in the downstream sector. The journey started just by us trying to get a franchise from Exxon, trying to be their representative in Nigeria. And we've grown from being an integrated oil company in the downstream, majorly playing into the lubricants, LPG, distribution of fuels, having our retail outlets, having a cylinder manufacturing plant. These are growths that has taken over the years. The infrastructure that was really not in existence in Nigeria, we tried to fill the gaps. Our business model with Techno Oil is basically to fill the gaps where we think that the infrastructure is not adequately there to provide those services.
In line with the federal government's national LPG expansion policy framework aimed at deepening the adoption of LPG, Techno Oil Group made a strategic investment with the establishment of 8,400 metric tons of LPG coastal storage terminal, with capacity to load out 6,000 metric tons, an equivalent of 300 trucks of 20 metric tons load daily.
In conclusion, the utilization of gas and transition fuel presents significant opportunities for Nigeria and businesses in Nigeria for sustainable economic growth. Through the concerted efforts of stakeholders in the gas industry, the NMDPRA, and other relevant agencies, we can achieve our objectives of expanding the use of gas and reducing our reliance on white products. By working together, we can build a cleaner, more resilient energy system that benefits all Nigerians for generations to come. Thank you.